Bro, so tell us about your plans. Like, how'd you get into it?
Yes.
We'll
do the intro in the middle. Let's go.
Yeah. And by the way, you shared a little bit, so I'm excited to hear this, man.
Yeah. So, very long story short, all my friends know that I say long story short, and they're like, oh boy, they start getting, a couple of glasses of water, pulling up a chair. But yeah, I just grew up in a suburban environment, didn't really know about nature too much. I come from a family of hunters and outdoorsmen, and we always did that. So I could see it, but as a kid, it wasn't integrated in my day-to-day life. It was more of like, oh, we're going to see grandpa, and then we go do it. But my neighborhood backed up to a creek and a swamp. So we'd built all these forts, spent time outdoors, and I'd come back, we'd only be on the other side of the neighborhood, like cross the water. Mm-hmm. Geographically, it wasn't far away, but we felt like we were in the middle of Alaska. Like we would be out there for 12 hours a day. And as soon as we'd come into the neighborhood, even as like a 10-year-old, I was talking to my buddy Gabe, and I was like, there's something weird about this. Like, this isn't natural. Like, where we were was just natural. It felt good. Like, we're in our freaking underwear. Like,
How old were you?
We started that in probably kindergarten.
Yeah.
So I grew up in the swamp.
You're
a swamp boy.
So you remember thinking like that as a kid? Like, whoa, this isn't natural.
It's not.
Wow.
You spend so much time out there, and as soon as I saw the buildings, the lights, and the houses, I'm like, and they're all in a row, and everybody's cutting the grass, and I'm like, this is weird, bro. We got to go back out in the woods. Like, there's something, and I don't even remember the complete thought. I was like, we got to stay out there more than we are here, because this is just weird. And that was my only, like, even just a little swamp in between the developments where they couldn't build was enough to like spark my mind and say, all right, like I kind of like this nature stuff. It's kind of like the entire earth before we got here.
That's right.
Started bulldozing it. And, so I had that, did regular jobs, started some businesses, graduated high school working in HVAC. Where should I start with this? Oh my gosh. Give me 1 second.
You're good. Yeah.
Basically, I realized that my life wasn't really aligned. Like I couldn't spend all my time like outdoors, or at least a big part of it. Like I'm just, working in these dusty buildings with asbestos from 1950 covered in crap, every day fiberglass in my arms. And I knew I wanted something different. So, I quit that job in HVAC, started knocking on doors, got into wholesaling houses for real estate. I'm like, my plan is going to be financial freedom through this like real estate business so that I can just spend my time out in the middle of nowhere. And, I'm doing that.
And be like remote and do real estate wholesale.
Exactly.
Got you.
So like that was the plan. A lot easier said than done. Like I was calling my mom. Oh, I saw this guru about to make first $100,000 a month. I'm going to retire my mom. Everyone's talking about retirement. She's like excited. She's like, oh yeah, keep her going, man. It's like, I'm going to get us a farm.
How'd it go? Did you do that?
Not with that one.
It takes more time than people think. Yeah, but heck yeah.
I ended up,
heck yeah, bro. Is that still the dream?
Financial freedom, absolutely. Wholesaling houses, probably not. I'm figuring all the loose ends out right now, but I took all that momentum with all the real estate investors I worked with, got into landscaping, right? One step closer. Now I'm not on the computer, in like this little, I never had a cubicle, but like a home office. I'm not on the computer. Now I'm outside. Yeah. Like, all right, now I'm making some more money. So this is good. I can take my shirt off and, cook a steak in some random person's driveway. And they loved it. They're like, you need anything? And then like, before I even lived in my truck, I had like the water containers, the stove, everything in the back. So it's literally like I lived there. I could have slept in the dang thing. And they're like, it was so cool.
You had all your tools in there?
Oh, yeah. I had the dump trailer, and then I didn't have a camper shell, but a bed cover. Nice. But I always kept the stove right next to the gas cans where you want it. And
nice. You got to be resourceful in the beginning, ladies and gents.
Oh, yeah.
You got it.
Hard work and knocking.
That's so interesting. Cool. So you went from that to landscaping. You liked it more.
100%.
Yeah.
I was struggling in real estate. And for my breaks during the day when I was feeling burnt out from cold calling people who were like, I can't say what they said, but they weren't happy. I would literally go online and watch grass cutting videos. Like I was like, well, this is so weird. Like I need to do something different if I'm watching somebody else cut grass. Like fantasizing, like, oh, that'd be so great. I could just go out, and I don't like cutting grass now. But like, wow, he made like $60 and he's in the sun. Like, dude.
Wait, so you got into it for the feeling, right? Because I like it too.
Of course.
Dude, yeah, so I can relate. But I'm curious, when did that switch? Because grass. I'm assuming you don't like that now. You plant trees now.
Exactly.
Yeah. So what switched?
Between the landscaping and the trees? Yeah, and actual
yeah.
like good stuff instead of like manicuring suburban America. Yeah.
Because landscaping becomes a lot of that. You're right.
It's literally just fighting nature every single day. I'd go to a project and we'd do all the mulch and do this and that. And the last step would be, hey, we need you to take care of the weeds. But it would be like Bermuda grass growing or like torpedo grass. And you probably know, being in South Florida, that you can't just like hand pull it and have it go away. So every time, like, you'd have to go there and like people would spray 5-10 gallons of Roundup just to get the mulch beds ready to put the mulch on. So like instead of like composting that stuff or maybe not having a manicured mulch bed, you have trees. Like, they plant nothing, cover it with mulch, and when Mother Nature, there's that saying, Mother Nature is modest, she doesn't like to be naked. You try to not have anything growing and then something grows and like we have to kill it. So like she's trying to reestablish and bring back like the ecological diversity, and a lot of them are medicinal herbs. The dandelions are coming up and they spray cancer causing chemicals on them when the dandelions cure the cancer, you know what I'm saying?
And they heal the land, yeah.
They do.
Wow.
Aerates the soil, little seed turns into a big root.
The dandelion cures the cancer. It's crazy.
Yes.
Bro, you're nailing it, bro. Keep going.
All right, word.
Wait, so the destruction, that's what it is. It's not creation.
It's not.
Yeah.
It's like not everything. I would clear some stuff out, do some cool projects, some patios, whatever. But I'd go into these places.
Conventional at landscaping, I should say.
Correct.
Right? Conventional.
It's just poisons. They'd have a lawn and I'm like, wow, look at all these pretty flowers. And they're like, hey, we need you to kill it. I'm like, no, it's nice. And they're like, no, we literally just want fescue. Like, we want monoculture grass. We don't want anything pop. People have been so conditioned. Like, the suburban dilemma is like, if your grass has a little bit of yellow flowers, that's ugly. Like, dandelions are ugly. What?
Yeah, why is that's like, probably marketing back in the day with like these products.
Why
is that, dude? Because it's pretty. You're right.
It's because
why is that conditioning?
It's conditioning. So everybody else's lawn is straight green. It's one thing. But if you took those same flowers that were growing up in people's grasses and you put them on a mountaintop, or you would just go to the mountains where they naturally grow, like, phlox, like all these different asters. If you let those weeds grow, like you didn't cut your grass for a while, you're going to start to see some flowers come up. You're going to see some lyre leaf sage in the roadsides in Virginia. During COVID, they didn't mow the roads for like 6 months. And I kept pulling over throughout all my projects to just like ID these plants. I'm like, I didn't even know we had these. Like, the whole roadside is purple and blue. But in the time to where like the grass is 4 inches and it grows to 8, they're like, we got to mow it. They don't always see the flowers right then.
They don't even know they've never even seen it.
They're not
experienced it. But by the way, I love that when it's in our yard, it's a weed, but when it's up in the mountains, it's a wildflower.
And people will pay money to go to the plant museum. Like, oh my gosh, look at that. It's a botanical garden. Like, you could probably have that, bro, if you didn't cut your grass. If you planted some other species.
And like, it's almost as if people like them. Like, that's where that goes. That's where the plant. It's craziness. Like, it's crazy.
I could talk so much about this.
It's these just one people, thing.
They want the whole system. We can get into the story, but like, what I'm doing is like rewilding these areas, and most people, like 90% of the people are like, absolutely love it. Everybody I've met in person is like, wow, you're doing God's work. You know what I'm saying? Like, channeling it through me, like, it makes sense. But when I have a video go viral, all these people, that's not supposed to be there. People will say, leave no trace. And like, what if we're improving it? They're worried about people going out and like planting kudzu in like a national forest, which never would do that. Stay away from the national forest.
No, it's not. That's different. Yeah, apples and oranges. But making it better.
It is. And they want to box everything in. Like, those people, I've dug into like their beliefs and their thoughts, and they don't make the connect. When they say that's not supposed to be there, you're destroying the ecology by planting, an apple tree on a mountaintop or a blueberry bush near a river. I'll ask them where they get their food from, because most of the time they're not farmers. They're textbook ecologists who went to school to understand how humans destroy things. They never learned I don't want to speak in generalizations, but the ones that I've talked to have told me that, we just learned that if you walk through that flower meadow, you're just killing all those seed heads, and they're never going to go to flower. They're never going to go to seed and spread out. Because you walk through that little strip of natural area, it's never going to be the same.
So that equals you can't walk anywhere. Yeah.
No. We'll bulldoze it. We'll bulldoze it, make a parking lot, and you can walk there. And then we're going to section off that area to do nothing with, which, by the way, the natives of the land, once again, mimicking nature, mimicking maybe not my ancestors, but the people who were here before us, like, They didn't see nature as something that was separate from them. They were part of the ecosystem. Okay, so like people these days that are hating on the mission of, plant a fruit tree are saying that area is natural. We're going to section it off, pay to look at it. Don't do anything too crazy. We're not going to log it. We're not going to do controlled burns. We're not going to thin it out. Definitely not going to plant anything. So just keep that land as is. And then we'll go get our food from the grocery store that came from most likely a monocrop pesticide sprayed field where they absolutely massacre any animal, insect, bug that tries to eat that fruit, and it has pest problems. Yeah, everything.
Massacre.
Even the vegetables, bro. Oh, there's a rabbit. See ya.
But people, they don't understand that. Maybe, I don't know, or they don't want to see it. But what you're saying is, where do you get your food from? There. Mm-hmm. Oh, by the way, they're 3,000 miles away too. That's unsustainable.
Like, imagine if we were integrated. Like, they want nothing here and then everything here, which is the farm. And that's the problem, being so one-sided. You can't have nature as nothing, and you can't have just a monocrop field. So what I am suggesting and doing myself and trying to inspire others to do is, hey, when you're walking around and you go to that park, plant a fruit tree. It doesn't need to be bulldozed to create an orchard, and it doesn't need just a couple trees here. Yes.
That's exactly the word.
We're in the garden. It's existential.